So today we're going to talk about collection and uses of pollen. What exactly is pollen? Pollen is the male seed of flowers. It is required for the fertilization of all plants. Formed at the free end of the stamen, you can locate pollen in the heart of the blossom. So every variety of flower in the universe puts forth a dusting of pollen. So every flower that you come into contact with produces pollen. Many orchard fruits and also your agricultural food crops do too. So bee pollen is the food of the young bee, and it is approximately 40% protein, which is an amazing fact considering you wouldn't necessarily associate protein with pollen. So pollen can contribute significantly to one's protein source. Uses. So pollen uses. They are primarily medicinal purposes. You're going to see this with natural remedy. It's going to be associated with that. So for nutrition, it is used as an appetite stimulant to improve your stamina and athletic performance. For premature aging, premenstrual syndrome, PMS in females, hay fever associated with many allergy problems, mouth sores, joint pain, prostate conditions, and radiation sickness. It's also used for weight loss and some bleeding problems, and this could include coughing up blood or nosebleed, brain hemorrhaging, and even menstrual problems. Bee pollen is also used for GI problems. A general tonic to increase your urine flow, and for alcohol intoxication purposes. And finally, bee pollen is used topically for skincare and skin softening products. So the majority of your lotions that you would put on top of your skin is used for treating eczema and acne. So how to collect pollen? You're going to need a few things. Starting with safety gear. It's primarily up to you whether you choose to use a bee suit. If not, a netted hat will do just fine. I would, however, recommend wearing gloves. You're going to want to use a smoker, a pollen trap, bucket, airtight containers, and a freezer. So something to note here, the best time to collect pollen from the hive is during the springtime, with another window of opportunity in most parts of the country again in the fall. Here in Ohio, of course, you're going to want to collect in the springtime, but considering our seasons, you could get away with collecting again in the fall. So the best place to store the collected pollen and keep it fresh and free from bacteria buildup is in the freezer. So this is where the freezer comes into play. So how exactly do you collect the pollen? You're going to want to place the collection drawer, also known as the pollen trap, below the supers or within the hive, somewhere where there's a screen associated with the pollen trap where the bees go into the opening in the hive and they go through the screen, and the pollen is it's pushed off of their legs and it falls into the pollen trap. So it's collected there. And so after some time that the trap has been in place, you're going to pull the drawer out and collect the pollen that has fallen from the bees. You're going to want to place that pollen in airtight containers inside the freezer. And so you can see here down in the corner, I have a picture of the pollen trap, and they're dumping it into a bucket. And using the bucket is very helpful in collecting pollen, and also taking that pollen and putting it into the airtight containers that you're going to want. It just makes the whole process a little bit easier. And so then you're going to leave it in the freezer until you're A, ready to consume, or B, ready to market. And you've just collected your first batch of pollen.